Daily Maths Concept, and I'm glad to have you back. In our last video, I promised that we are going to prove the quadratic formula. Yes, we are here today to do justice to that. All right, let's look at our quadratic equation. We have ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. We are required to prove that x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This is the quadratic formula, okay? And this is our destination, okay? Ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0 is like the question. And the answer is x equals to minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You know, when I was in secondary school, we were asked to prove this formula. The truth is that I crammed most part of it because I didn't really know it so well. So I don't want you to cram this. I just want you to follow the lesson. It is well simplified, and I believe you are going to understand it very well, such that you can prove it on your own over and over. All right, we are going to go through the proof in steps. All right, don't forget we are solving ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. This is our question. So the first step is to take the constant to the right hand side, okay? We'll have ax squared plus bx equals to what? Minus c. All right, the next step is to make our a 1, okay? The coefficient of x squared must be a unit. So if that is to be taken care of, then we need to divide both sides by a. And that when that is done, we'll have ax squared plus bx all over a equals to what? Minus c over a. Then we can actually distribute this a to each of the terms in the left hand side. We'll have x squared plus b over a x is equals to what? Minus c over a. I believe we are making progress. Okay, let's continue in the next page. Recalling what we have in the previous page, we have x squared plus b over ax equal to what? Minus c over a. At this point, the next thing to do is to make the left hand side a perfect square trinomial, okay? This is just a binomial expression. So we need to make the left hand side a perfect square trinomial, and that will lead us to the next step, okay? For us to do that, we are going to multiply the coefficient of x, which is b over a now, by half, okay? Then we square the result and add it to both sides of the equation, okay? As you can see, the coefficient of x is what? B over a. So we're going to multiply it by half, and we do what? We square the result. What do we do next? We add the result to what? Both sides. So having done this, the left hand side is already a perfect square trinomial. You might be wondering, what's the perfect square trinomial? Okay, let me give you some examples of perfect square trinomials. X squared plus 8x plus 16 is a perfect square trinomial because the last term is equal to the square of half of the coefficient of x. As you can see, the coefficient of x is what? 8. 8 over 2 is 4. 4 squared is what? 16. Okay? Another property of a perfect square trinomial is that the extreme terms are perfect squares. The extreme terms are perfect squares. As you can see, x squared is what? A perfect square. And this last term, this constant 16, is also a perfect square. Guys, there's a very simple way of factorizing a perfect square trinomial. For instance, if we are to factorize x squared plus 8x plus 16, it is very, very simple. It is x plus 4 all squared. How does it work? Just take the square root of the extreme terms, okay? Take the root of x squared, which is what? X, okay? Then take the root of what? 16, which is what? 4, all right? Then the next thing is what? To maintain the sign of the middle term, okay? The middle term has plus, so we maintain this plus. Then we square everything. That is just how to factorize a perfect square trinomial. Another example is this: x squared minus 6x plus 9 is what? A perfect square. How do we know? If you have 6 and square it, you are getting 9. Another way to check is that the extreme terms are what? Perfect squares. So to factorize this perfect square trinomial, it is going to be what? X minus 3 all squared. Okay, we got this by taking the root of the extreme terms. All right, having said all of this, we are going to go back to our proof and do what? Factorize the left hand side of our equation. Don't forget, the left hand side is what? A perfect square trinomial. And how do we factorize a perfect square trinomial? By taking the square root of the extreme terms. Take the root of x squared, which is x. Also, the root of b squared over 4a squared is what? B over 2a. Then we square everything, okay? So this is just the simple way of factorizing perfect square trinomials. Then we do what? We maintain our right hand side. I just rearrange the right hand side, okay? Nothing has changed. I believe you are writing something down. Of course, I will encourage you to practice this proof on your own at the end of the video. Okay, you know it's a way of gaining mastery. All right, let's proceed to the next page. This is what we have in the previous page. We have that x plus b over 2a all squared is equal to b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. The next thing is to work on the right hand side. Okay, we'll find the LCM of the right hand side, and that gives us b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. I believe you know how we got this. Okay, the LCM of 4a squared and a is what? 4a squared. So 4a squared divides 4a squared to give us 1. Then 1 times b squared is b squared and minus a divides 4a squared to give us 4a. Then 4a times c is what? 4ac. So what do we do next? You know we are solving for x. We are trying to get a value for x. Or better still, we are trying to make x the subject of the formula, okay? So we just need to take the square root of what? Both sides. Alright? So let's what we have in the next page. Okay. So we want to make x to stand alone. So we need to get rid of the square and the square root. You know, our square always cancels the square root. So that we have x plus b over 2a equal to what? Plus or minus root of what? B squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. Alright? So we have to move b over 2a to the right hand side so that x can stand alone. If that is done, we'll have x equals to minus b over 2a plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If positive b over 2a moves to the right hand side, it changes to what? Negative, okay? So don't forget that root of a over b is equal to what? Root of a all over root of b. That's how we got over 2a, okay? So it's just as good as having root of b squared minus 4ac all over root of 4a squared. And 4a squared is what? A perfect square. So the square root of all perfect squares give a whole number. All right. So that's how we got 2a. We have just proved the formula. Okay. This is the quadratic formula. Okay. That has it as x equal to what? Minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Proved. We are done with this proof, and I believe it is very, very simple. Please try to take down this note. It will help you, and try to practice as many times as you can until you master it. And if you really understood this lesson, it means you can solve any given quadratic equation by completing the squares method. I tell you, you have learned a lot in today's lesson. This is where we're calling it a day. I believe you got value for your time. In our next lesson, we are going to be solving a couple of quadratic equations using the completing the squares method. And I believe you will enjoy it. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.